camera. Let's get this whole thing on the roll. Let's get this whole thing on the roll. We are about to have California's finest. Bryan Casella is about to join. Bryan Casella is about to join, and I'm hyped. I'm hyped. It's one of my idols. Somebody that helped me get to a point of where I am now. One of the forefathers. Oh my gosh, what this is crazy. Super exciting. Super exciting. Super exciting. From New York all the way to California. This is amazing. My phone is on Do Not Disturb. So on Do Not Disturb. And we are getting ready for one and only Bryan Casella. One and only Bryan Casella. You heard that? Sorry. But one and only Bryan Casella. One only Bryan Casella. So right now we're waiting for him to go. So excited right now. So excited right now. So right now it is 6 p.m. that time, 3 p.m. his time right now. So it's real dark over here. Right? Looking outside, it's super dark, crazy right now. And I guarantee you, it's like, right? Thing in the nighttime skies are not beautiful, but it's not LA. It's LA. One, yeah. Once had a party, California. Hey, don't get me started. So we're gonna this we I have something already. Um, yeah, right now, let me just um, oh, right now I'm going to message. Just send him a quick message. Just send him a quick message. And I wonder, take my do not disturb. Do not disturb. Let me take that and allow disturbance to happen. You feel me? Just, all right. So in the meantime, in between time, so but in between time, right? So I have my questions here. I've been watching Bryan for I want to see years. He's one of the people I've been watching since the beginning. Him, Lord of Velasquez, Ricky Cabu, G. Miles. Those four are the forefathers, in my opinion, of YouTube real estate. And he and Ricky Caruth are probably the two main reasons why I cold call so much. I just enjoy cold call. It's kind of hard to say I enjoy it, but it's one of my preferred lead generation sources. Right? I'd rather cold call than door knock. Um, Obviously, I'm using YouTube as of right now to just generate interest and build my presence there. Like that's it's not the full screen. Kind of didn't like how full screen look. But yeah, that's I was thinking. Um, just checking the message and everything like that. So we have. He's actually, I want to say, possibly the only reason I got into NLP. Um, NLP is neuro linguistic programming, and it's more so building rapport, subconscious level, if that's fair to say. You know, the subconscious mind is way powerful than the conscious mind. So once you're building rapport in the subconscious mind and going from there, and you build the energy and that rapport from there, it's like I don't want to say it's almost guaranteed, but a way bigger chance. It helps you with negotiating. It helps you with listing appointments. It helps you with even the cold calling. When you hear somebody's tone of voice and you match it, but just go like slightly above it, or they're talking fast and you want to talk fast. They're talking slow, so you want to talk slow. You know, it's just certain things that you pick up. Um, Mirroring, they lean forward, you lean forward. They as mentioned, mirroring is more so like they're facing them across and they raise their right hand, so you raise your left. So they go like this. So then I'm just like this because the way they see you, you're doing the same thing that they're doing, like a mirror. You know, um, on a subconscious level, people like themselves. So you're coming off as somebody who's like them. You're coming off as them. That's fair to say. That's a fair assessment. Um, oh, right. He just texted me back. He's coming on in a few. This is going to be great. Bryan Casella now has like a bunch of hair, right? And before we go for the light, then we went to the top. So whatever you go to the top of on sides. Um, This is epic for me, man. Like, he's one of the, lack of a better term, he's one of the inspiration for me to do this as well as like one of the reasons as to why like I don't know, I possibly got the attitude I have today, like the no nonsense, the no BS approach, straightforward style that he has. It's fair to say that I adopted that in a sense. A great plus, as a matter of fact. So this is something I'm really, really, really grateful for. And Mr. Bryan Casella is officially here.
What's up, Chris? How's it going, bro?
Bryan Casella, how are you?
Fantastic, my friend. How's everything going with you, bro?
Everything's going good, man. You look great, man. I love the new look,
Thank you, man. You know, I'm handling business, bro, so I got to do it in style.
man. Well, before we get started with anything, I wanted to know verbally and I guess visually tell you thank you. One, taking the time out your busy schedule to do this for me.
Of
Um,
course, man.
Two, to thank you for everything that you've done to get me to the point of where I am today in real estate.
Oh, yeah.
One of the biggest in my company, and I attribute that to you along with others and everything like that. I've watched almost every video that you've done, um, from when you had the low light Caesar and you was in this little tiny apartment, and then I seen everything, and
Cool, man.
and I thank you for that because me seeing that growth to where you are now, it makes the fantasy a reality. You
Right.
know, like you start seeing like you get into real estate. It almost seems like intangible, like you can't do it and so on and so forth. But then you watch somebody,
Mm.
who's coming up and they buy a freaking Supra and you got a Lambo and everything like that, and those super cars that you just see, and it's just like I think if nobody's giving you your flowers as of yet, I'm gonna be the person to do it. So Bryan Casella, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you.
Welcome, man. You know, and this is why we do it, bro. We love seeing this. You know, now that you're doing this and taking a step and creating the same thing for yourself, bro. That's ultimately why we do it, just to show everybody that it can be done. And that's why I've really been so open about everything I've done too, because I find a lot of people that I've met online and people who I came up with, they didn't really show me too much. There was a lot of, you would see it, right? You would talk to them, but they really didn't open up and tell you too much and show you a lot. So that's another angle that I loved about video and sharing on social media is I can show you everything, and the only person who's going to limit it is me. I did want to let you know, bro, every once in a while your audio cuts out. So I don't know
Yeah,
if it's the connection, but I just want to let you know.
it's probably the audio. I'm trying to get up and get to your level with the microphone and everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Don't worry about it, man. I'm just letting you know. And I'm glad that you're doing it, bro, because a lot of people wouldn't do it unless they have the right equipment. I get those messages all the time.
oh, it's just get up and do it. You sit there and you wait to be perfect and things like that, and then you really just you stagnate yourself.
Yeah.
You're
You get
you're
caught
in
up
a
in your head. Absolutely, bro. I
you're in
agree.
analysis paralysis, and you get so stuck of trying to perfect it that you wind up doing nothing.
Yeah. I agree.
You know, so Bryan, to get started, from what I can see, you are one of the YouTube real estate pioneers. That's fair to say. What made you get into the wave so early?
Well, for me, Chris, when I started doing social media and doing all this, it wasn't like a business idea, and it wasn't like, hey, I want to do it and get a lot of followers and get popular. It had nothing to do with that. It was really because when I started, the whole concept was, you know what, I want to keep like a video diary of what I'm doing. right? And have like
Mm,
the digital copy of what I'm doing. But at the same time, bro, I had so many people against me doing this. Like, it's ridiculous. I think I could maybe on one hand out of like hundreds and hundreds of people count the people who actually had my back and actually were like, you know what, do it. So I had so many naysayers and so many people doubting me that I had a chip on my shoulder. And I said, you know what? I want to document it and put it in their face that I'm
mm,
going to do this every single day now. Can I tell the audience that that's the best way to do it? Maybe not necessarily, right?
yeah.
Because if you only have a chip on your shoulder, that's not a good place to operate from, you know, because it's like vengeance and revenge, and that's not good energy, right? But in the beginning, it gave me that spark. So I would say, bro, it was a combination of that, but also not looking at it like I need followers and likes and comments. It was just, I'm putting this out there for me. So I can look back 3 months from now, 6 months from now, and a year and say, look how far I've come. So it was more a personal thing. The growth and everything else that came from it was just a byproduct to me, man, because it came from the heart first. Then all this other stuff grew and that happened and it blossomed like a flower. But in the beginning, man, it was just about me and making sure that I stay on track.
Wow. Wow. So that's it's great that you said that, especially to me, because honestly, Brian, I've always kind of operated with a chip on my shoulder. Not again, not a good thing, but it's something that fueled me to get to where I am. Some people would told me you don't deserve it. Like you want all of these things, and you want to get 50 listings. I remember my first year, I had the goal of 50 listings as a single agent,
Mm,
and you shoot for the moon,
yeah.
reach for the stars. If you don't reach it, you sit with the stars. And
Yeah.
that's where I always operated from.
Mm,
So, but when I would say, listen, I want to do 50 listings, I got looked at as crazy and I got looked at as
mm,
whatever and a whole bunch of doubt. And people would be like, what? You're not going to do that. It's hard to get one. You want 50, you know? And then I didn't reach 50, but I did reach 15
mm.
as a single agent,
Dope.
So that right there, and it was the momentum
Mhm.
because after you get one, then it's easier to get the next, easier to get the next,
Right.
easier to get the next. But that's kind of where I've gotten the inspiration from, hearing agents say you don't deserve it, and hearing agents say you're not going to get this, and
Yeah.
maybe they got one listing in the past 2 years, but I just got 5 in a month or something like that, which was great. So I appreciate that statement right there, personally.
Yeah, bro. And if I can add to that, it does take a crazy person to do that because the average way of thinking, the average way of operation isn't going to get 15 or 20 or 50 listings in a year. So when I would get thrown that stuff, I would embrace it instead of trying to have a conversation with somebody and go back and forth about how I'm not crazy. I said, you're damn right I'm crazy, bro. It takes this type of attitude to do this. I don't want to be and sound like, walk like, talk like everybody else. I want to blaze my own path. So I'm going to embrace your definition of crazy and show you what crazy can do. And that's how I turned that energy, bro. And I just used it to my advantage. And a lot of people get stuck fighting people. I don't fight people. I take what they give me and I amplify it. That's what I do.
Wow, that's powerful. That's powerful. Um, Before we move on from the YouTube thing, I wanted to know, like, what steps did you take to grow your YouTube, to grow your Instagram, to grow your Facebook audience? Like, what steps did you take to do that? I understand it was a byproduct of what
Yeah.
you were doing, but what steps did you take to actually grow that?
Yeah, when I started looking at it more from like a practical standpoint and a business standpoint, there was a few things that I did. From being that like pioneer and doing like real estate agent stuff on YouTube, I said, you know what? Like one thing that I've realized right away that people don't see is they only get the glitz and the glamour from TV shows like Million Dollar Listing. People don't
Mm-hmm.
know what it's like to be a new agent and go through what we go through.
Yeah.
And at that time when I started, bro, like 2013, 14, 15, there wasn't really much on YouTube. Forget about just the space, just in general. So I said,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? Let me show people like the real day in the life, what's really going on in my mind, what I actually do on a daily basis. How about I show them when things don't go right, right? When we get rejected, when I lose the listing, when I lose the buyer and they go behind my back and go with another agent. Like,
Or another
let me
agent,
show,
yeah.
yeah, let me show the mistakes. Let me be vulnerable and say, hey, you know, I'm messing up, but hey, this is what I'm doing. So I can teach people, but they can see the real side of it. That was a strategy for me. Be as transparent and as open as possible, because I know people are going to really vibe with it and connect with it. Number two, another thing that I did that really helped me was I didn't confine myself, right? Like a lot of people will get in and just think, well, since I'm on YouTube and I'm talking about real estate, I'm just a real estate agent. I can't be anything else. And what really opened up the floodgates for me to grow my following and explode, you know, my channel and my Instagram and all that, is I started showing people my individuality, right? We're big on cars. I started collaborating with other car YouTubers who had 2, 3, 4, 500,000 subscribers, right? And I started
Mm,
reaching out to my other friends that were, you know, my boys that I'd hang out with, or we shared common interests, and said, look, I'm a basketball player, right? I'm a car guy. I do this, I do that. And when I started incorporating my life with it, what you do when you do those collaborations and you show people another side of you is you open up yourself to a new audience. So an
wow.
audience who may not follow you because you're a real estate agent will see that you have a common interest of cars. Now they're going to follow you. They'll still support you, and they may only really watch a lot of your car stuff, but they're going to be like, Bryan, that's my guy, because he's got a Supra too, or he's got a Lambo, he's got a GTR. Like, that's my guy. I know he's a realtor, but I vibe with him because he's a car guy and he's a part of the community, not because
Mm,
he's a realtor. So that started opening up a lot of doors to bring in a diversity of a following, which I can say to this day, I still have a lot, because I've always been an open book, you know, about my life. And the third one, I would say that's the main one, bro. And as cliche as this sounds, you know, if someone is to follow me for years, I don't stop, bro. Like, I'm consistent. When I said this is my schedule for posting videos, I don't care if it was raining. I don't care if there was a civil war outside. I posted my videos. You know what I mean? And I like, every once in a while, I might miss a day, right? But that's 1 out of 100, you know? And
yeah.
I'm just so consistent with my schedule and posting that I can't be stopped. And when you look at it over time, especially me observing other people who have done social media, I can't say that any of them fell off because of any other reason besides they stopped posting and they weren't as consistent. And everyone says, I know that, but nobody's actually putting that into practice. They'll do it for a
Mm,
month, 2 weeks, 6 weeks, then they stop. And all that momentum you built up, just like in our business, if you stop and you hit the stop button, you're
goes
going to
away.
lose all that momentum you've built. Now you have to regain that momentum, and it's way harder to start over again than it is just to keep going. So I would say, bro, those are the top three things in a nutshell that really helped me take the channel and my following on all platforms to the next level.
In the first statement that you said, you wanted to be as vulnerable as possible and show people the transparency of what really goes on in real estate. Um, $1 million listing is like very pretty. You know, it's not, hey, I got a listing, and then 2 days later, a buyer comes in and they put an offer in the house while the cameras are rolling. Like, this is $4 million. Okay, we're going to offer 3.6 right then and there. It doesn't happen, you know. But being transparent and being vulnerable and wanting to show, a day in the life of Bryan Casella. How was that scary for you?
Well, bro, I went through a lot, you know, mentally, you know, in regards to the subject, because what you described, you know, a lot of people will click on that and think that they want to watch it, right? That's why a lot of that content, that viral content, a lot of people think that's the way to get views, but it's not, because when we're watching it, like we watch somebody on TV, like let's say we watch a news anchor on TV doing his thing, we're not sitting there thinking, oh, when he's at home, he's talking like that with his kids. We know
Yeah.
he's putting on a show and playing a character. We may not say it, but deep down inside, we know.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, with that point, I knew that when people watch us, man, on social media, this phone and social media carries the same effect as watching that news person on the TV, right? People
Wow.
perceive you like that, especially after they've seen you a few times and you're talking about a certain subject. They view you almost up on a pedestal, like, oh, that's my guy right there, right? If they see you, like it happens to me now, I'll be shopping at the grocery store. Hey, bro, can I get a picture with you? I follow you. Like, you don't do that to the average person. You don't just walk up to a stranger and say, hey, bro, let me get a picture with you. There's got to be a level of respect or admiration from you to that person to ask them for a picture, right? So I
Yeah.
noticed it had that effect, right? And you can connect with people at a level that you can't otherwise by just being the news guy. You might like the news guy, but you won't have a
Mm.
beer with him or hang out with him or go to a car show with him. But me, when you meet me, you feel like family. right? So
Yeah.
I saw the power in that right away, right? So now when I'm saying, okay, I have to do this, yes, I was scared. Yes, I had doubts. Yes, I knew people were going to criticize me and judge me. But knowing that, I said, you know what? Eventually, just like riding a bike, just like making phone calls, I know this is going to get comfortable. I just got to do it. So as I was starting to do video, what I did that really helped me, bro, was I got involved with Toastmasters, the public speaking
Okay.
forum.
Yeah.
And I did Toastmasters for, I think, like a year and a half or 2 years straight. I never missed a meeting. It was every Monday night at 7 p.m. I remember 7 to 9 p.m. every Monday I would go. And a combination of that and starting to do the videos within 2 months, I already felt really way more comfortable in sharing personal things. And I started sharing little stuff, maybe some of my interests. Then I started letting people into my home and filming while I was in my house. So it was little baby steps that I took, right? But knowing that first point that I told you, I said, look, man, I don't care about the fame or the fortune and all that. I just want people to really vibe with what I'm putting out, because I know there's other people out there like me, same age, maybe they live somewhere else, they're doing real estate or maybe something else, but they're going to watch me and say, man, I know exactly what this dude's going through because I'm going
Yeah.
through it right now.
Right now.
When I look for content, Chris, I couldn't find that. I couldn't find it. And I couldn't look at anybody and say, I feel this dude. So I said, you know what? I need to step up and be that person, no matter how scary it is, because it serves a bigger purpose.
Wow. That's that's deep. That's deep. Like right now, as you can see, like I'm building my YouTube channel and everything like that now. And I try to come from a point of reality, as I like to say it, like thoughts of a real estate agent and of the average real estate agent, not just, I'll go live cold calling, I'll do a whole bunch of other things, but here's my thoughts on sellers, and here's my actual thoughts on open listings and open houses and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Things that you might not typically find on the internet, but I know the common real estate agent is thinking. So it's deep that you said that, because that's what I really try to do. Even in my interviews, I try to make it a point to not be as redundant and repetitive as
Yep.
other interviews, and just get the questions that we have answered that possibly don't come to the average mind.
Yeah.
It's dope that you said that.
And that's why
Now,
it's better to do stuff like this, bro. That's more informal and just an open conversation, because then those subjects and topics come up and we can talk about it, right? Versus
mhm,
when I do something for the National Association of Realtors, California Association of Realtors, or some person who just DMs me who I don't know, typically it'll follow that cookie cutter format. So I even tell them beforehand, right? Hey, let's do something different. I know those questions, but I've answered those questions a million
a
times. Let's do
million
something
times,
different,
exactly.
right? Because now it'll have a different flavor to it versus just being the same thing now in 2020 that we've been talking about since 2013 and 14,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's go. Now, I see I see that you have tons of videos, and I want to say Loida and Ricky Carew
Mhm.
are the three main reasons why I cold call.
Mhm.
And I get the most listings in my company because I do the most cold calling. So I do 3 hours a day. I hold myself to a standard of at minimum 100 a week, which is the phone ringing,
Yeah.
20 conversations. Out of the 20, I want 15 meetings. Out of those 15 meetings, I want 10 listings. And that's my weekly goal.
Yeah.
So now I know, okay, if I did 100 cold calls, but I didn't get 20 conversations, I need to make more cold calls because I got to hit that 20.
Right.
Now if I hit the 20, but I don't hit 15 meetings, I got to get more conversations, so I get more meetings and so on. So it helps me build and everything like that. Now, however, I've noticed that you're a very big advocate door knocking.
Mhm. Yeah.
Now, what made you decide to go the door knocking route?
Well, for me, bro, being in Southern California, we have the good weather, but more than anything, man, when I was doing both, because I got a lot of fame and recognition for door knocking, but I was always doing both. Like I was cold
Okay.
calling just as much as I was knocking, right? And I think a lot of people forget that. It's just
Wow.
for me, there was many reasons. I noticed that at the door, you had a better conversation and you had a better connection with people because you're not just a voice on the phone, you're there in person. Number two, it got me out of the office. I hated being in the office, bro, because I like in college, I got a taste of working like in quotes, like a 9 to 5, and just
Okay.
already being in that environment for a little bit, seeing how it was run and people's attitudes and the structure. I said, I'm never getting a job, right? Like I'm going to be an entrepreneur because I can't stand this. I was literally getting in fights, bro, with the manager. I'm like, dude, I'm doing all the work. Homeboy over here is just sitting in the break room. Like, so you're either going to pay me more or fire him. And the guy's like, dude, what's up with your attitude? I'm like, bro, I'm doing all the work. What do you mean my attitude?
Exactly.
I'm being honest here. But I noticed it didn't work. And I said, you know what? Maybe I'm just not built for it. So that seed was planted at like 19 years old. You're going to be
Wow.
an entrepreneur, right?
Mhm.
So now you fast forward to this. I look at this opportunity and I'm like, man, going door to door, it's incredible, bro, because to me it was a balance because I was getting results cold calling. I will admit I got faster results cold calling, right? But as
Okay.
I was building my database and putting people for future business in my database, I noticed that people that I had met door to door, that connection was already done. Boom.
Instant.
So when it came to getting referrals and then later on scheduling a meeting with them 6 months later, a year later, 2 years later, when they were ready, man, you walk in, they roll out the red carpet for you because they already know you, they like you, and they trust you.
Mhm.
So for me, I still recommend people to do both. But the door knock gets you out of your comfort zone. It builds a better connection with people. And I think long term, it's a good way to, if you incorporate techniques like previewing property, you can really boots to the ground, learn neighborhoods, talk to the people in the neighborhoods, and really get a better personal feel for markets that you're in. Because now when I
Mhm.
sit with the seller, I can say, dude, I've met all your neighbors. That other house you just saw online, I was in it. I previewed it. The other one across the street, I previewed it too. I've been in those houses. I know this neighborhood. I can price everything like this, right? I know what type of families moving in here because I talked to the neighbors.
Mm.
Because one of the things I would ask door knocking, what's the top 3 reasons? If I have a buyer who wants to move here today, what would be the top 3 reasons to move to this neighborhood? That's a question I ask them.
Wow.
And they give me, well, it's safe, it's quiet, right? They give me. So I'm taking notes. So I know now when I get with a buyer, even I can say, look, I've met people in this neighborhood and this is what they had to say. Now you're really an expert. So the door knocking angle for me, dude, it just always seemed to be bear me a lot of fruit. But the main point for me, I just want to get out of the office and walk. That was the main reason. So it made sense on paper, but just physically, mentally, it was really beneficial for me too. And we have the luxury of having good weather out here in SoCal, right? It's not snowing,
Yeah.
it doesn't rain too often. We have a lot of residential property here, so it was easy for me to bang out a lot of doors every day.
Wow. I remember I tried door knocking one time. No, well, one time in the neighborhood, I had a listing, and I'm a New York agent, so in Queens, New York,
Yeah.
and I door knocked around it, so 10 blocks up, 10 blocks down, 2 blocks horizontal both ways.
Mhm.
So this was maybe over 200 doors, and it took me 2 days to do so.
Yeah.
Now, I never wanted to do that again after that. My feet were on fire. I
Yeah.
was just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I walked into a house, and I believe like the house was falling apart. It might have been haunted. I don't know. I was like, what is this? I thought I was gonna fall through the floor. I looked up, I could see the roof through the second floor. Like I could see the roof of the house through the second floor. And it was like, oh man, it might have scarred me, you
Yeah.
know.
Right.
Now, I know in your past, you door knocking and I believe a weapon was pulled on you, and you
Mm.
still door knocked after that.
Mm.
How did that not negatively and affect you, if at all?
Well, Chris, when I looked at it initially, yeah, it shocks you. But when you start taking a logical approach to it and you think, I looked at all the doors I knocked on, all the interactions I had with people, right? I've had cops called on me. I've almost been arrested. I've had
Mhm.
guns and weapons pulled on me 3, 4, 5 times. Like I even
Wow,
lost count, right?
I thought it
Um,
was once.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh no, way more than that, bro. I don't want to shock people too bad. That's why I don't say it, right? I've been chased out of neighborhoods by people. I've had dudes come out and like follow me while I'm door knocking, and like I'm talking to a neighbor and they're sitting there like instigating, like wanting to fight me. So I've dealt
Wow.
with a lot. But when I look at, the metrics of it, dude, I maybe out of every like 1 or 200 people, right, I would maybe get one negative interaction. Now for something extreme like that, it was like one out of every like 2,000. I figured it out. So if you break that down percentage wise, what is that? Like
It's nothing.
0.005%. So I
It's
said, look,
nothing. Mhm.
am I going to stop doing this? It's so fruitful for my business by a 0.05% chance of somebody calling the cops or pulling a weapon on me. It just doesn't make sense, bro. So as I matured mentally, I started looking at things from that perspective. And I said, look, I'm not breaking any laws. Yeah, some people might be upset, but that's cool. It's only 0.005 or 0.05% of the time. It would be
Mhm.
foolish for me to give up this vital tool because this happens every once in a while.
Wow. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. I know something that tragic happening, to me or a few other, maybe tons of other people, that would possibly discourage a lot of people. Like, I'm never doing that again. I
Mhm.
just had, a gun drawn on me or people following me or something like that.
Mhm.
So they would never want to do it. It would just scare them, possibly out of real estate, right?
Yeah.
Um, Now in New York State, pre-COVID, the failure rate of real estate agents is 88%.
Wow.
I'm not sure if that number kind of rivals California, but that's almost 9 out of every 10 real estate agents is going to
Yeah.
fall out of the business within the first year or two.
Yeah, I think it's like 9 out of 10 in Cali. I think it's 90% actually. The last I saw, 90%. And when I started in the business, it was 87, which means in the last 7 years since I've been in the business, bro, with all this abundance of technology and information that people have access to that I didn't have access to 7 years ago, it's not that
Yeah.
long ago, the failure rate went up.
I know.
How does it go up? How does it go up? If I had what like my channel when I started, I would have like had success even quicker, it seems like. So it just goes to show that it's not in practicality doing the action. It's up here. The same thing applies to the situation about me having weapons pulled on me or having the cops called on me. Depending on how I perceive the world, I'm going to give it a different meaning. I'm going to say,
Mm,
oh, I don't belong in this neighborhood. Like you said, oh, maybe they were right. Maybe I don't deserve to have success. And this is a sign, right? So
mhm,
depending on what you're thinking upstairs, you're going to perceive what's going on, right? And I learned something in NLP, neuro linguistic programming, very early on that said the map is not the territory, meaning the territory or
mm,
reality, my map and perception of it doesn't mean that I'm right. But depending on my interpretation of what's going on in the world, I attach meaning to it. So I can turn that situation either positive or negative, but who is it on? It's me,
so,
right?
wow.
And my conditioning. So, but a lot of people won't take responsibility like that. That requires me to take responsibility for my thoughts and how I perceive the world. And you know what's even more important than that, bro, is even if it was let's say it was some sort of like hate from somebody, right? And they did it on purpose, I wouldn't care. I would tell them, look, sir, ma'am, I'm not going to let your hate stop me from getting what I want to get. Okay. Have a nice day. Peace. And I'm going to keep going. Right. So no matter what you throw at me, I'm going to figure out a way to overcome it, regardless of the circumstance. You get what I'm saying? And this is the attitude that people need to adopt. But this attitude I've noticed, right? I know I'm kind of going on a
No,
tangent
no,
here.
no. It's
This
great.
attitude has been villainized. Oh, you're too aggressive. Oh, you're going after it too hard. Says who?
So,
This is
so
the
yeah.
attitude that you need to be successful. This is the attitude that has allowed me to help people and create my channel. If I didn't have this attitude, we wouldn't be having this interview because I wouldn't exist. The
Mhm.
BC that people know today. So that's the key from this. We hear the situation here in this conversation, but you need to understand from a mental standpoint what we're talking about, because that's really the key here. And if you can take that from this, then you can insert it to whatever you do, relationships, real estate, it doesn't matter.
Wow. Wow. You know, they say it's a saying, right? And I might butcher it, but it's a saying where you pointing one finger at somebody, but there's three pointing back at you.
Yep.
Like everybody wants to get rich. Nobody wants to do the work. I
Mhm.
teach that all the time.
Yep.
It's actually the opposite because I get it. I'm not in the office.
Mhm.
Like I live in the office. I visit my house. That's what that's how, that's what I
Yeah.
So you know, you'll have the agents that want to make 100 grand a year or $1 million a year, but they don't show up. They don't do the work. You just feel entitled. Like, okay, I have my real estate license. I'm going to put it on Facebook. I'm now a real estate agent. If you need help buying, selling, or renting, contact me, as if you're entitled to the business, right? And that's never,
Mhm.
it's never the case. You know, you have to go out there and
Yep.
you have to lead generate. You have to cold call. You have to door knock. You have to reach out in so many different ways. And like you said, back in the days, it was harder. We have a computer in our pocket.
Yep.
We can now get all of the information that we want at the snap of a finger,
Yep.
but nobody wants to do that.
Nope.
It's crazy.
Yeah, they make a business plan, bro, around this time, and they put it in their desk and they never look at it again.
Never look at
And
it again.
then next year they do the same thing, and it's just rinse and repeat, same process over and over.
Every Saturday, I dedicate to review my business. Every Saturday, you know, whether I don't feel well, I'm sick, whatever, I'm sitting down, my phone's up, I don't want to review my business. After I finish reviewing my business for those 3 hours, now it's time for me to do some more research. So that's when I'll hit YouTube and I look at your videos. Chasing. Like I'll just do a whole bunch of research. I'll listen to my audio books. I'm real big into audio books. I want to move so much I can't really, just sit down and actually read a physical book.
Yeah.
But I'll listen to the audio books. My goal every year is to listen to at least 50 audio books.
Nice.
This year I did like 63 or something like that. And because of you, Bryan, I actually kind of dove into the world of NLP. So it's great that you brought that up. Now I know that you're heavy in NLP and you're a certified hypnotherapist, am I correct?
Yes.
Awesome. Now, what made you get into NLP?
Well, I've been involved in that world, my friend, for a long time, because as I was studying different people who uh, would have knowledge on certain subjects, but I knew for a fact they were pretty well studied in communication, they all had that in common, where they had some sort of understanding on hypnosis and neurolinguistic programming, right? And it
Mhm.
got me thinking, okay, if all of them have this common thread of studying this, I need to look in this direction. Then once I started studying it, I said, man, this is all about the mind and communication. This is
Mhm.
incredible. Everybody needs to know this.
Mhm.
However, because the label doesn't say sales or real estate, everyone's like, why are you studying that? What does
Why you
that have to do
studying?
with real estate and sales? I'm like, bro, it has everything to do with it.
Everything.
Yeah. But I said, you know what? I'm not going to argue with people. I'm just going to run this way. No, I was pretty much self-taught, right? I
Okay.
got the certifications because from a marketing standpoint, like I understand how to play the game, right? And the rules of the game, I didn't create them. I just have to play by them, right? So what I did was I said, you know what? I'm self-studied, but people aren't going to take it serious until I get these little diplomas to put up in the back of my videos. And that's why I got officially
Mm.
certified in NLP and hypnosis, because if we go to a doctor's office, what do you see behind them on the desk? All the
A bunch of
diplomas.
degree.
I'm
Yep.
this, I'm this, I'm this. We don't look and say, oh, what school? But we just see it and we acknowledge it. So that plays on somebody's psyche. And as people explore
Wow.
NLP and hypnosis, you'll understand how people process the world, how we process language, how the mind works, what people like, what they don't like, what attracts them, what repels them, and having almost like a cheat code or a manual to say, hey, if I say this or do this, this is going to be the response from the typical human being. And to me, I said, this is twofold, really good. Number one, because I have strategy now, which I've always been a strategist in everything I've done, right? But number two, because I'm a good vehicle and I'm a good person and I'm going to use this for good, I'm going to help people. I'm not going to use this just to benefit me and get ahead of everybody. I'm going to use this to help people. And a lot of the videos that I've put out that are really popular or have gotten a lot of attention from people, or that they say, oh man, this really hit me, or a lot of videos where I was experimenting with this stuff and saying, I'm going to throw in some NLP and maybe some hypnotic patterns and see how people respond. And I would tell like Lloyda, hey, watch the response on this video because I put a few tricks in there. Let's see what
Mhm.
happens. And then it would blow up, or it would get like 1,000 comments. And I said, you see, it works. Because
Wow.
people around you are saying, does this stuff work or does it not? Same thing with appointments. I would say, hey, pay attention. When they say this, I'm going to hit them with this line in this way, and everything I said earlier is going to tie into it, right? But
Mm.
it's so complex and simple at the same time that if you don't study a lot, It's kind of difficult in application because I think a lot of people, bro, they study these subjects, but they never use them. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just about using words and patterns, but it's having and being able to observe it in the world. Right. Because a lot of people do a lot of these techniques without being aware of it. And when you bring
Exactly.
awareness to it, now they can grab it as a tool and have it in their tool belt to be able to use whenever they want. But that requires not only application, but also understanding. So to me, bro, it's a subject that is limitless and is super interesting. It has a bad rap and a bad label to most people because they think it's, oh, you're just manipulating people. No,
Being
you're not.
manipulative.
You're just understanding. You're just understanding and you're having strategy. And if you're a good ethical person, what's wrong with having, tools that you can help people with, make them feel more comfortable, help them make a decision easier, or go the other way. I turn a lot of people away. I'm like, you know what? We're not a fit for each other. I do it all the time. Why would I force somebody to work with me or sell them something that they shouldn't be buying? Right? I turn people away, and people tell me, well, what do you mean? You turn away business? Well, it's not business. They shouldn't be transacting. They shouldn't be buying. They shouldn't be selling.
Wow.
Right? Now, if someone else does them wrong, that's not on me because that's not me. But if I did the right thing, I can sleep better at night, and the world would be a better place if people did the right thing. And this helps me do
Definitely.
the right thing in a better way.
Definitely. So, so in what ways, like, in what ways did you implement NLP? Let's say like in a listing appointment, because
Yeah.
when I go to the listing appointments, and the book that I've read was, I have it here, NLP: How to Use Neuro Linguistic Programming, by Stephen Turner.
Yeah. Nice.
Right. So they talk about mirroring, matching,
Yeah.
tonality,
Yep.
things like that. So now I know when somebody leans forward, somebody leans back, I lean back. Like that. They raise their right hand, I'm going to use my left if we're across from each other. And things
Yep.
like that. And it's helped me
Mhm.
get listing appointments because you're building rapport on a subconscious level.
Yep.
Right? So, in the subconscious mind is way more powerful than the conscious mind.
Mhm.
So once you build rapport, and they possibly don't even understand why they like you, but again, you're using it as a tool to, I guess, kind of get an advantage and everything, and help the people they need that way they need to be helped. It's actually giving them an advantage if you think about it,
Yeah.
because you're the right real estate agent, and you don't want them to go the other way with somebody that's just looking for a commission check. Right. So, in what ways do you recommend implementing that into a listing appointment?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot you can do, man. Just like one or two quick things that I can give to people. One thing that we learn early on that can be applied as an example in a listing appointment is when we sell something that we forget is the one who's asking questions is the one who's in control.
Mm-hmm.
Now, tied with that also is keeping control of the conversation, but in the right way. So when we have a script, in a sense, we want to guide the conversation to an ending that is good for the customer and us. If we allow the customer to run the conversation, they're just going to take it wherever they want to take it, right? We have
Yeah.
a set goal in mind. So one thing that I would always do, and I would ask questions, right, is end all of my questions either with a question or what they call a tie down. So I would ask a question, blah blah blah. This price is 2,000, 255,000. Does that make sense? They're going to say yes. So there, I'm ending my statement with a question because I get them to engage, but I'm also hitting them subconsciously because what did they just say? Yes.
Yes.
Right. So I'm going to end it after a couple paragraphs. So by the time I get to the end where I ask them to sign, they've already told me yes 20, 25, 30, 35 times over a 20 or 30-minute presentation. Now I'm creating momentum. Now, one thing that we learn in NLP is we as human beings, we run on patterns. And when we fall into a pattern, we tend to stay in it. So if they're saying yes, 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 when I say, okay, I need your signature here, they're a lot more likely to go with it and not question it because you've built a momentum, right?
Wow.
So the yes momentum is a good one, right? The tie down, does that make sense? Are you with me? Fair enough. That'll get them to respond. Now I can present the next question. That's a way of keeping control, right? So those are just a few things, man, I can give you that people can implement quickly because I know it's a very diverse subject,
Yeah.
right? And we can talk about it forever, but those are two quick things that I learned early on that I immediately implemented and it was like, wow, it works. It works.
I think once you start doing research in whatever field, obviously I'm in real estate. So once you start real estate books, and you just like getting caught into this rabbit hole of
Mm.
now it's veering off to NLP, now it's veering off to taxes, now it's veering off to like just regular sales conversations and things like that. You just start learning more and more and more. So when people start asking you like, okay, what book are you reading, or where did you get that from, and you tell them something that
Mhm.
almost has nothing to do with real estate to the naked eye, they're almost confused.
Yeah.
Like, why are you reading this book if you're in this field? Because it all ties in. It's all business,
Oh.
you know? So,
Yeah, man. And I was never afraid of studying other subjects. And what I found was, and initially, right, I have a lot of friends who are dating coaches, right? And they call that the
mhm,
pickup world, right? Social dynamics, whatever you want to call it. And I immediately was intrigued by that field, because when I really took a step back, I was like, man, this isn't even about dating or socializing with people. It's about understanding how people interact and then doing it right, so you win everybody over, whether they're a man, woman, young,
mm,
older, it doesn't matter. So I immediately took that information and said, man, I can apply this to real estate. I'm door
mm,
knocking, I'm calling, I'm meeting with people. This is the core of the interaction, of being able to handle myself in a social situation the best way to elicit positive emotions in people, emotions
mhm,
of comfort, emotions of trust, right? And again, that operates on a subconscious level, like you said
mhm,
earlier, which is infinitely more powerful than conscious. So that's what I did. And once I made that connection, which I don't think was difficult to make, anybody can do it. That's when my mind started turning, bro. And I was like, man, I need to start studying all kinds of stuff. I started
mhm,
studying a lot of like philosophy stuff and, evolutionary psychology, NLP, hypnosis. And I just crammed it all together. And I said, I can use this in my life, but I can really use it in real estate too and create an advantage. Same thing with some of the topics that I was covering on YouTube and my video style and how I spoke about life and my perspectives on real estate that were different to everybody came from a lot of these teachings that I was learning in other places. And that's effectively how I separated myself from most people who are doing things on social media, especially.
wow. Have you have you ever tried? This might get you in trouble, but have you ever tried using NLP on Loida?
On what?
On Loida?
Oh, yeah, all the time. And she knows. Yeah. She knows, bro. She knows. I've look, our relationship is such that when I got together with her, I said, look, I'm an open book, right? I'm going to learn this, but I built her along with me, right? And I think that's where a lot of men nowadays in the dating world are messing up. They think they have to compete with their women. Look, I said, look, let me lead in this dynamic and I will build you up and build me up and we'll build an empire. But we have to do
Wow.
this right. So I said, you need to be open too, because I'm going to be studying a lot of subjects and I'm going to pioneer in a sense and blaze a trail. Just roll with me. So as I'm learning stuff about the dating world, I'm teaching her. NLP, I'm teaching her, right? Everything that I learn, most of it, I pass down to her. And I would say she is, in essence, like my best student, because I'm
Wow.
always learning and boom, we talk about it. We talk about it. We talk about it. So our relationship is much deeper than just we're hooking up or we're hanging out and we're going out at night. No, it's on a very interpersonal level, too intimate with the information, and we're building together, learning together, and growing together. And I think that's where a lot of people have a missing piece in their relationships, right? It's just their relationship is very just the flesh, it's
Mm,
physical, right? Right. And I incorporate everything. So she knows everything, man. And I'm really getting proud now of her, because she'll catch stuff, because it's become unconscious for us to do certain things. And she'll catch the techniques in my videos or when I'm teaching. And I like that, because it's acknowledging that she's learning. Right.
mm.
And it's been great, bro. So absolutely. Yeah, I use it all the time. It's so embedded in me now, as I'm sure it's becoming in you, where you're not even thinking about it anymore. You just do it
It's
naturally.
just happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's that's crazy. I tried that, you know, when I first started getting into it. So obviously I was an amateur, still learning, so I tried it on my time and it did not go well at all. So
That's how you learn, though, bro. That's how you learn. You got to do it. You got to
she
do it
would
and
she would
crash and
like
fail, and then you got to start again.
she would like say things and want to repeat the last couple of words that she said, so on and so forth, to kind of get your
Yeah.
way. And
Yeah.
why are you repeating me? And then
It's funny,
it didn't
bro.
go
It's
over
funny.
well.
We all go through it. I went through that phase too, man. We all do, because nobody's good at this stuff out of the gate.
Yeah.
No one is.
So you played basketball for Menlo, am I correct?
Yeah. I bounced around a lot in college, man. I went to JC. I went there. I mean, I was all over the place. I was a mess, bro, in college. I was everywhere.
So you were a guard and a forward.
Guard. I'm primarily most of my career I played point guard. Sometimes I played the two, but primarily I was a one. I would say like 80% of the time.
Okay. So after injury, what made you want to get into real estate?
After I decided to stop playing, man, it was a really tough moment in my life. And I got into real estate, dude, to make the long story short, because I said, look, I can't look at the negative. I need to look at what's possible now, right? I already spent a year feeling sorry for myself. Now I need to
Mm,
kind of figure out all the stuff that I've built through basketball. I can't let that go to waste. I need to find something to channel all that discipline and all those attributes that I built up over the last, 14, 15 years. What can I find that's going to allow me to, use it and then do really, really well in that career? And when I looked at real estate, man, it made sense because I said, look, we know it's not a 9 to 5, so I can clock in early, clock out late. I already did that with basketball. It's
mm,
going to require me to do, cold calling, knocking, and some of these things. I was like, I don't know how to do it, but I got the discipline to do it every day, and other people aren't. Boom, I'm going to get ahead, right? It's commission, which means I have no limit. If I sell 10 houses in a month, I'm getting 10 commission checks. I can't do that in a 9 to 5. So, dealing with people, I said, I'm not great with people, but I'll figure it out. It's a skill that I can
mm,
learn. And as obsessed that I am with doing drills like I was in basketball, I'll figure this shit out in a couple months. No big deal, right?
mm,
So that was my attitude, man. I just looked at the attributes that I had built as an athlete, right? I was really competitive too. So as soon as I got in the office, I said, hey, dude, you're number one. I'm coming for you. Watch out, right?
mm.
I embodied that attitude and all those attributes. And I said, all I need to do is find something where I can apply these attributes and have success. And when I looked at several things with real estate, it just lined up. And I said, not going to be easy, but I can figure it out. And I have all the tools that I need to get me there. And that's kind of how I made that decision, man.
Wow. It it may sound cliche for me to say it, but I've 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 always wanted to get in real estate
Mhm.
since I was a kid, right?
Yeah.
So it was this show called 101 with Kyler Pratt, Flex
Yeah.
Washington,
Yeah.
and I just remember them being in like a white condo. I
Mhm.
didn't know what the condo was or whatever, but I just remember it being a condo.
Yeah.
Ever since I saw that apartment, I've loved condos. I've so right now my main thing is I want to represent condos just because of that. I was
Yeah.
like 9 when I seen that, right?
Yeah.
And that right there just really made me want to get into real estate. Like I want to be able to walk around in those condos and help sell it to people. I'm okay with selling the co-ops and it's almost the same thing.
Mm.
Multi-families and mixed use, but condos just hold a special place in my heart because of
Right.
that thing right there. And getting into it, I got my real estate license. It was just like a dream come true. Like, I got to make this happen.
Right.
I out of everything I wanted to do, like this is like something I've always been. Now I didn't know the difference between an agent,
Mhm.
um, an investor. Like I didn't know all of the
Yeah.
different subcategories of real estate. I
Right.
just knew real estate.
Mm.
So eventually I'll get into the other ones as well. I'm happy being an agent right now. Not comfortable, I'm gonna be up
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was just a dream come true for me.
Dope. Yeah, man.
Um, now, how did you how did you feel after your first major purchase from your commission checks?
Man, when I got that first commission check, man, even I was almost so elated and happy that I didn't even really pay attention to the split, right? Because I was on a 50-50 split and the franchise fee, like I got pennies compared to what my commission was, dude. But
Yeah.
I really, it was a blessing in a sense, but also it kind of woke me up because I wasn't very, smart with money, growing up and everything. So it hit me with reality. I said, okay, this is, good check, right? But I need to be smart from the beginning. So I may be tempted to spend money that I don't have and things of that nature, but I really need to be smart with this. So the first thing I did, man, I remember is when I got that check, I deposited it and I got the Mojo Dialer. That was the first purchase that I made,
Wow.
dude, because a lot of people don't know I was hand dialing when I was cold calling using the office phones, and the chick next to me, right, would never be there. So I would put up her phone on the cubicle top of it and have my phone, and I'd be
Oh, so
dialing
you
two
was
phones. Yeah, right, exactly.
wow.
Alternating. And I did that for, probably a month and a half, 2 months till I closed that first deal. And it's a lot of work, bro. You're talking like
Mm-hmm.
calling through physical lists and taking notes and hanging one up and dialing the other one. So I knew, I was like, man, I need to stop that ASAP because it's killing me, right? It's killing me. So I got the Mojo Dialer, man. Best purchase I ever made, because as soon as I did that, I started making way more calls, and it just organized me better, and it really gave me that spark to keep going, and really blow it up from a lead generation standpoint.
Mm, wow. So couple more before I let you go,
Sure.
Ryan. I remember a video of you saying that it was you door knocking,
Mhm.
and you were saying sellers don't care about what sneakers you wear. And I think you pulled up a pair of Asics, if I'm not
Yep.
mistaken.
Mhm.
And that right there was powerful to me, man. It was just like, just go out and do it. You don't need the perfect shoes. You don't need the perfect blazer. You don't need this and the third. Or just nobody's really gonna tell you no because of the sneakers that you wear.
Yeah.
That's why I took. When did you get that realization?
Right away, man, because I had those thoughts too, because we grow up being told by other people, right? Like, how many people gave you advice, and me, who were never affiliated with entrepreneurship or real estate, on how we
Mm-hmm.
should run our business? Everybody. Oh, you
Everybody.
can't get in real estate. You're too young. I wouldn't trust you. Oh, you don't even own a suit. Oh, you don't drive a fancy car. Oh, you can't go after $1 million listing. You're too young, right? You don't know what you're doing. So I stopped, and I was like, you know what? I realized I've gotten advice from people. So before I accept it, I'm going to test this advice and these theories. So I said, you know what?
Mm,
I'm going to go. I think it doesn't matter what shoes I wear. Let me take you through my mind at that time, bro, for me to have the realization. I
mm,
don't think it matters what shoes I have. I think it's more important about what I bring to the table, not the shoes that I'm wearing. You know why? Because before I even get to the comparison, I said, these people who would give me those comments, they've never knocked on doors before.
mm.
I've done it in dress shoes. And after 10 houses, I had blisters. I was like, I can't do this. Right. So I said, I got to do it because I'm knocking on so many doors, but let me test this theory. And I started knocking and talking to people and asking them at the end, oh, by the way, before I go, I have these sneakers on because I'm, walking a lot. Does it seem unprofessional to you, or do you care? And just, I kept hearing, no, no. Oh, I like them. They're cool. Oh, they're different. Nice colors. I started getting compliments long before I ever got anything negative.
Wow.
Or even people that might not have liked it are like, well, not really. But I mean, yeah, if you're going to knock on 100 doors like you say you are, I would wear those too, because that's crazy to be in dress shoes. Nobody
Mhm.
cared, bro. Nobody cared. So I said, you know what? In the real world, I've tested my theory versus their advice. And you know who won? My
Yo,
theory. And
that's
I made the
crazy.
commitment to myself. And I said, whatever advice that I'm getting from people that I feel is wrong, that I don't trust with my gut, or that I have a different theory, I'm going to test it and see what's up. Right. Just like I would have people shadow me door knocking who thought, I can't door knock. People aren't going to listen to me, or I'm too tall, I'm too short, I'm too fat, right? Or whatever it was. I said, come with me,
Mhm.
bro, and we'll test the theory. Don't believe me. Let's test it. And after every session, because in the beginning, bro, I would let people shadow me. I'd have 3, 4 people with me door knocking. They're like, bro, you're right. Everybody's nice. It's nothing like I thought it would be. I said, exactly. Now go back
Mhm.
to, your hometown and where you're at, and go knock and keep knocking until you get deals. Right. And I told people, test the theories. And that for me, bro, was a huge realization, because I realized 99% of the shit I was told, bro, was bullshit.
Mhm.
Growing up, in business, out of business, I said, I've been lied to my whole life.
The
And it
whole
took
life.
me 28 years to figure it out, bro, at the time, because I was like 6 years ago, right? And
Mhm.
I'm just like, man, it's a tough pill to swallow. But then you say, okay, let me delete that and let me move forward with a new, stronger perspective and a stronger mind. And from there, man, you really start, creating at a different level, having success at a different level, and life is and feels different once you come to these realizations, because now you have control, and you can do what you want to do. And there's a difference. You have to feel that to understand that. You can listen to it and maybe relate to it, but until you have that feeling, then you can
Mhm.
say, I know what he's talking about.
Definitely. When I got into real estate, Brian, I had a Caesar, like I had a regular haircut. I
Right.
recently just got, and it you came to my mind when I decided to get braids, because I will always hear like a million excuses. Braids are unprofessional, and I might have to cut my hair and I gotta do this and I gotta do that. And it's like, no, you don't.
Yep.
Just go out and be yourself. If people don't like you, people don't like you, right? It's gonna be whatever reason. Like you could be in a perfect suit, so on and so forth, perfect shoes, perfect smile, Rolex, everything, and
Yep.
still not get the listing. Be yourself. None of that stuff matters, So I got a whole bunch of listings with braids, without braids. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
I remember in Crown Heights section of Brooklyn is predominantly Jewish. And they would say, like, listen, a black guy can't get a listing over there.
Yeah.
Or they're gonna want to deal with their people, I heard that a million times. What do? I go over there and I get a listing and I sell it.
Boom.
So it's like, what are you saying?
Yep. Yeah, it's just passed down, bro. It's passed down. No one ever went out there and found out, but we accept it because maybe an authority told us, our mom, our dad, our broker, and we just accepted at face value instead of challenging it. And that's all I did. I was told the same thing, dude. You can't go door knocking in Beverly Hills. No one's gonna do business with you. You're some young punk that is new. I was like, all right, bet. Let me go try it out. And if you go to my Facebook, I recommend everybody who listens to this, go to my Facebook and go back to like 2014 and 15 on my feed. You'll find pictures of me door knocking in Beverly Hills. And we put a deal together. I went once a week with another lady who was local to Beverly Hills because she was scared to door knock. And after about a month of doing it every Friday, we picked up a buyer and sold them a house like this.
Wow.
Like this. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But I said, you know what? Let's see if they're right. I want to go test it. And technically, bro, it's technically illegal to go door to door in Beverly Hills. We only had one person say something, and they weren't even that mad. One person, and we talked to hundreds, dude. Hundreds. Most people were like, damn, we never get door knocked here. You guys are realtors? And they would come out and they would talk to us. Happy to see us. Not mad, happy. And I'm talking, bro, I'm walking through gates, right? I'm knocking on the door and not using their little camera, and they're just coming out all smiles. When you would think that everyone would chase me off their property because they're in Beverly Hills, right? Crazy.
That's crazy. Now, in marathons, there's something called the wall, right? Where you feel like you can't go any further, you've had enough, you want to give up, it's just too much. Have you ever hit a wall? And if so, what was it?
Oh man, I've hit so many, bro. In my basketball career, in real estate, outside of real estate. I mean, we could do a whole separate podcast on walls for a couple hours if you want to, right? I would say the first one, right? Just to keep it simple for people. I remember a seed that my broker planted when I started. He said, it's between the ears, this business, 95%, right? You're going to hit a wall. He told me you're going to hit a moment where you break down emotionally. You think you can't do it. All the pressure of everyone else's opinions and judgments and criticisms is going to get to you. And you're going to have that moment. Now that moment is going to decide what you do next, if you're going to succeed or fail, right? And I remember that conversation to this day. I remember what I was wearing, what time it was, what day it was, right? Crazy. Even though it seemed like an insignificant conversation, but that line stood out to me. You fast forward, I get 1 or 2 deals right away. Then I hit my 3.5 month dry spell in the beginning where I don't get anything, bro. And I'm consistent. I'm door knocking. I'm calling. I'm doing like 40, 50 contacts a day, some days more, not getting anything, dude. No appointments, hardly any leads. And I'm hitting that wall, 3 months in, I'm like, man, can I keep doing this? This is ridiculous. But I played the victim. Oh, I should be getting business. This isn't fair. And I had to snap out of it because I had a moment where I was sitting in my car, literally in tears. And I said, you know what? I remember what David, my broker, I remember what David told me. He's like, this is that moment. So what I need to do is quit being a little bitch, right? Stop complaining. Stop complaining. I'm sorry, bro, if you're PG-13 on this podcast.
That's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Throw a couple curse words out, right? But I said, I need to, the biggest switch for me in the wall, because you asked, like, if it happened, what did I do? I began to actually believe and have confidence in what I was doing. In the beginning, did I? Yes, but it wasn't 100%. It was, well, they told me to do this, so I'm going to do it, right? So I'm kind of just going through the motions in a sense. After that moment, it was, okay, I know what I'm doing is what I'm supposed to be doing, and I know it's going to work, and I know I'm going to get listings and buyers. So I had a different conviction and attitude to me now, where it wasn't, do you want to buy or sell? right? Like asking, but like kind of
Mm,
apologizing for it. It was, okay, I need to find somebody. Are you ready? No? Okay. And I moved
mm,
differently. I had a different confidence, a different swagger to me. Everything changed from that moment on. And I would say within 2 weeks is when I started getting deals and I started building momentum right after that. But it was simply, bro, a switch in my conviction, my perspective, and my attitude mentally. That was it. Because I went 3 months doing all the action. But until I made
mm,
that switch, I didn't start seeing results. Right. And it was tough. Like I said, I was in tears. I was in tears like 3 times my first year, bro. But I knew something had to change. And typically there, we won't change. We'll complain. We won't change. I changed.
mm.
And that's what caused me to break through.
Wow. Wow. That's deep. That's deep. You know, when you see to be trained, you're one of my idols. So I have to again give you your flowers and things like that. So once you see somebody that you really look up to and you know have they have human moments,
Mm,
you know, it's like wow, you know, like I've hit a million walls,
mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
Till this day, you know, it's just like, oh my gosh, you know, you feel like you should be doing more and getting more done and so on and so forth. And it's just like, you know,
Mm,
and when you hear somebody who you look up to with over 100,000 subscribers, 1.4K video, hills and hills, you know, like
mm.
everything like that going on, you know, supercars in a great place and you know, they have their human moments too. It makes it feel like you're not alone
Mm.
and that everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
So I appreciate
Yeah. And that's
it.
why
And
earlier, bro, that's why earlier I said you need to share with people and be open about it. Because that moment that you just described right there is why we'll be friends and why you can connect with me and vice versa. It's because of that. Right. And a lot of
mhm,
people won't show that. They'll just show you, oh, I bought my Lambo. Oh, I got this house and I'm doing this. They won't show you when they're in tears. Now, had I been recording, then I would have put that online. And I know I would have gotten tore up in the comment section. Oh, you little bitch.
mhm,
Why you crying? Man, the fuck, right? All that.
mhm,
But I still would have posted it because of what you just said. I know it'll touch thousands of people like that. And I'll get
mhm,
5 trolls who just hate on me. Right. And to
mhm,
me, it's a worthy sacrifice in quotes to let myself be open to some criticism if I can touch somebody like that, because you probably can't put a price tag on that. Just like I had those
yeah,
experiences watching other people. You can't put a price tag on that because maybe it kept you from quitting or it changed
mhm,
the course of your life. That happens to me, you, and everybody else. And
mhm,
that's why I brought that up in the beginning, bro, because people, they sleep on that factor. And that's why you have to be open like that. Otherwise, you're going to limit yourself to be able to connect with people on that deeper level.
wow. And the last question is, what is your craziest real estate story?
Craziest real estate story, man. Now I have like 30 in my mind, bro. Right? These questions are great. Or people probably struggle to answer this one. I'm like, shit, which story do I choose, right? And I've had a lot. I'll give you a few. I'll give you a few, right? I remember one
Okay.
time I was door knocking and I actually had this lady answer the like naked, right? And
What?
right. And behind her, we had these two people on a couch, and I couldn't really tell because I didn't look too long, but it looked like they were doing drugs, right? It was real hazy in the house. Like I'm not talking like smoking weed, bro. I'm talking like drugs, right?
Wow.
Yeah, I like it looked like a mess in there. It looked like a scene out of Scarface, bro. Like that's what it looked like, right? So I said, you know what, lady, I think I came at the wrong time and I just bounced, right? Because I said, look, if I stay here and somebody calls the cops, I'm gonna be in on
You're
this,
gonna be
right?
in.
So I'm gone. Yeah, that's one, right? I was like, I don't even want to be seen here. That was one. Another one was probably having the gun pulled on me, door knocking. One of them, the dude literally opened the door, like pointing the gun at me. I was like, whoa, bro, like I'm just a real estate agent. I'm not here to do anything. And he kept it up. And like until like I walked off his property onto the street, then finally he closed the door. Right.
That's
So that
crazy.
scared the shit out of me, right? That was another one. I had another one, bro, where I have this situation where, and this will be the last one,
Mhm,
we have a situation where we have a trust on a property. Me and my buddy, we door knock together, we list it together. It's a situation where one of the family members passed away. The trust designates 3 people to split the proceeds. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Everybody signs, we meet. There's a little bit of back and forth in the family. I sit down with them. I think it's cool, right? We sign, everybody's happy, everybody's in agreement. We put the home on the market, right? Currently, 2 out of the 3 family members are still living in the house. Everything is good. For about 3 days till closing, I go to have the final chat with the people living there. And the one dude, Steve, I think was his name, he's like, "Hey, man, I'm not leaving." And I'm like, "Fuck, man. Like, we're 3 days
Wow.
from closing. Now this dude's telling me he's not going to leave." And he just blows up, starts yelling, right? Um, Come to find out, I thought I diffused the situation and it was cool. I come to find out he gets a lawyer a day before closing. They slap a list pendants on title and they put a judgment lien on the title. We can't close, right?
Wow.
Now, long story short, bro, the property doesn't close for a year, almost year to the day, bro. So we put it in a contract in March. It didn't close until the next year in March. And I had to pull at the end a cash for keys with the dude. And I literally sat at the house for like 2 hours talking to him to convince him to take the money and sign. Right. And then finally it absolved all the lawyers and everything. And we were able to close. But that was a 2 hour negotiation with the dude to get him to sign a cash for keys agreement. Right. Crazy,
That's
dude. Now I
crazy.
left out a lot of the in between because me and him almost had to throw hands a couple of times, but like it got crazy, bro. Like it got crazy because I would even tell John, I'm like, "Don't come in with me, bro," because then he's not going to talk. But be ready. Like if you hear me say something, that means this dude's pulling a gun or we're getting into it. So if you hear a scuffle,
Wow.
come in or call the cops. Like it was bad, bro. Like I'm a peaceful dude, but this guy was just nuts. I think he was on drugs. They told me later, so that's why he was a little bit mental. But for me,
Mhm.
it was the first time I could really start to apply some of that NLP and hypnosis stuff real time when everything is on the line. And man, being able to get that dude to actually sit down with me and be civil and laugh with me and have a conversation, I know I was like, man, nobody right now could do it. I pulled some Houdini stuff right here to get this to happen because to get this dude who hates me, right, who hates me because I'm selling the house, to sit down with me and laugh with me, like I gotta be doing something special here,
Yeah.
So it kind of opened my eyes to those techniques and how real and powerful they are too. But those are just a few, bro. I could give you again 100 stories of craziness, but I've had a lot of interesting stuff happen in my career, bro. That's for sure.
That's crazy. Brian, I'm not going to keep you any longer, man. I feel like I could talk to you for hours and hours and hours,
Of
Um,
course, man.
you have so much knowledge and information and inspiration and stuff like that. And
Thank you, bro. I appreciate that.
I don't want to get carried away because it's just so much, and hopefully we can do this again, or when I go to the other side, we can sit down, chat, food is on me, and things like that, and we
Yeah.
can we can talk in person and things like that.
Whenever you want, bro. Whenever you want. And I'm gonna be I think I'm gonna host my next coaching event in New York. And if I do, dude, you're invited. So I'll
I
definitely
appreciate
be
it.
letting you know because I haven't been to New York in a while, bro. And I love New York. So I want to go back.
Oh, definitely, and I'll be there with bells on.
Yeah, and I think you'll be impressed too. My New York accent is pretty fierce, bro. You might think
Yeah.
I'm Brooklyn too. Yeah, if I pull it out when I call the East Coasters, bro, hey, how you
Yeah.
doing? Like I pull it
How
out.
you
So
doing?
you might be impressed, bro. You might think I kind of grew up there.
Oh man, Bryan Casella, I thank you so much, man. You've been amazing. Opportunity. I love you. I love everything you're doing, and safety, wealth, and fortune your way. And thanks again for everything that you do for me, us, the real estate community, the world, everything, man. I can't give you enough thanks.
Likewise, man.
Really,
I
I
appreciate you,
really
bro.
appreciate you.
Yeah, happy to see what you're doing here, man. When this is released, let me know. I'll share it too, and I'll do anything I can to support you, bro. I really appreciate you.
Thanks a lot, Brian, man. Just tell everybody. Have a good one, man. Thanks a lot.
All right, brother. We'll talk soon.
All right.
See ya.